My boyfriend of 6 years disappeared while I was out of town. I don't know what to do. The author of the post is listed in the description. Last Tuesday evening, I, 32F, came home from a being out of town for 2 weeks for work. My boyfriend, 35M. Nate was supposed to pick me up from the airport, but once I got in, I wasn't able to get a hold of him and he never showed up. I was a little annoyed, but no too worried because I figured he had fallen asleep. When I talked to him earlier that morning, he said he didn't sleep very well the night before and was going to lay down before he had to come get me. So I called my sister for a ride home. When I got home, Nate was nowhere to be found. I checked the garage and his car was gone, so I sent him a text asking where he was and headed upstairs to unpack. When I opened the closet to put my things away, I saw that almost all of his clothes were gone. At this point, I'm confused, so I start calling him. It just keeps ringing and then going to voicemail. I check his office and everything is still there. Everything in the house is still there and in place except his clothes and his car. I'm really starting to freak out at this point, so I call my sister and she comes over and we both try calling and messaging him and still get no answer. His computer and his laptop are both still in his office. I logged onto his computer and my sister his laptop. I know all his passwords, but we didn't find anything out of the ordinary, so I started searching his desk and found his iPad in the top drawer. I logged into it and checked everything I could think of and found nothing out of the ordinary. My sister suggested checking the Find My iPhone app on his iPad to see if we find out where his phone was. We logged into the app and see that his phone was pinging in the next state over. I started calling him again, but still got no answers to my calls or text. I really start to lose it here. My mind starts going all over the place trying to figure out what could be going on. I called the police because I think someone has to have done something to him. The police came out, but they said there wasn't much they could do because he hasn't been gone long and his clothes missing was sign that he left on his own violation. Over the last few days, I've done everything I can to contact him. He doesn't have any family except for a brother that he cut ties with before I met him. I found him online and sent him a message, but he said he hasn't seen or heard from Nate in years. I keep checking his phone's location, and since Saturday morning it has been pinging in the same location in the PNW. I took off work for the rest of the week, and my sister and I are flying up there to go to the location his phone is pinging. Has anyone ever dealt with something like this before? How do I even confront him? What if he is with another woman? What if he isn't there, or worse? I am so lost and hurt right now. My mind is all over the place. I can't think straight. I'm so lost right now. Edit. Yes, I have called or messaged all of his friends. None of them have seen or heard from him. I do have access to his bank account as we have a joint account, but not his business account. He last used his debt card Friday night in a town west of Seattle, Washington. He owns his own business, but has taken a step back over the last year, so he doesn't communicate with them regularly. They haven't heard from him since last month. I am 5 months pregnant, and we have known for 3 months. He did become a bit reserved and withdrawn since we found out, but it's not uncommon for him to do that every so often, especially around this time of year. I don't truly believe that he would abandon me and his child. That's just not the type of man he is, but I don't know what to think anymore. Comments? Commenter? This situation is weird as fuck. Be careful out there. Use common sense. If you can, get law enforcement involved in your destination, if only for your protection. Commenter. OP buried the lead. She's pregnant and BF lost or is estranged from his family. Dude is freaking the fuck out and needs therapy. Commenter. Has he ever dealt with mental health or serious medical issues? Could he be depressed or in a fugue state? This is so strange. I hope you find answers soon. Oop. Nothing like that. I know when he was young boy, he had something really traumatic happen to him. He is missing a finger and has scars all down his leg and torso, but he refuses to talk about it, so I don't press him on it. He is a very laid-back and stoic. Nothing ever bothers or upsets him. However, we did find out I was pregnant a couple months back, and since then I have noticed he seems to be a little more withdrawn and reserved, but he gets like that sometimes. Commenter. Good OP. You deserve answers 100%. Is his iPad linked to any of his messaging apps? I'm guessing not, since you've already tried looking through it. I know I would be going absolutely crazy and that it's easier said than done, but try to keep as calm as possible and know you will get your answers in a few short days. This is absolutely unfair, selfish, and crazy. So sorry you are going through it. There is obviously something very wrong if he ran away from home and is typically a caring and thoughtful kind person. Also about the childhood trauma thing, I'm sure you asked about it upon first meeting him since the finger thing was apparent. Did he just say, "I don't like to talk about that"? I find it absolutely nuts that he has not opened up to you once about it after all this time. What has he said to your family and friends, which I'm sure have asked about it, if they've noticed his hand or seen him in a swimsuit? What's he planning to tell his child when they will inevitably ask about it? Keeping it an angry secret doesn't seem sustainable. Oop. Yeah. The first time I asked him about his finger, he said something happened when he was younger and he has never and will never talk about. I obviously found it odd, but figured he would in time. He would tell me. I've brought it up a couple times over the relationship, and he always just shuts it down, and the last time I brought it up was the only time he has ever raised his voice at me. So I just left it alone after that. That was almost 2 years ago now. My brother-in-law asked him about his scars, and all he said was it was from an accident he had when he was younger. He talks to me about how he is feeling all the time. He is actually really good communicating his thoughts and feelings. He talks to me about his life before he met me, but only goes back to when he was around 21. He rarely mentions anything from his childhood or teens years. I know he was in some trouble with the law those years because he has a marijuana charge on his record from 2007, and when I went through the case notes, he was already on probation when he got that charge, but I have no idea what for. I found that out this past week as well. Obviously, I am missing something, but I just don't know what. I never thought he was lying to me or that he would lie to me, but now I am questioning if I ever know who he is. Update, 8 hours later. First, I want to say thank you to everyone for suggesting the welfare check, epically you Muppet, John Bon Jovi. We called the department where his phone is pinging, and they have sent someone over to see if they can make contact with him. It's been over an hour and we are still waiting to hear back. I am hopeful, but still have an overbearing sense of dread. All I want to know right now is that he is okay, and I can figure out everything else later. I just need to know he is okay. Update. The police were able to do a welfare check, and although they were unable to make direct contact with him, they spoke to the couple who live at the house. They said they were old family friends and that he was there on Friday and Saturday, but that he went to the Olympics Sunday morning to go hiking for a couple of days. The officers informed them of what was going on, and they told him they believed he was okay, and that they would contact me tonight to try and help explain the situation. What does that even mean? I am even more confused. Our flight to Seattle is at 9:45 a.m. tomorrow, and at this point we are still going. I hope these people do call, but it's been a while now and I haven't heard anything. New update. I think this will be my final update. I have to get ready and get my stuff packed for the flight in the morning. I have just spent the last hour speaking to the couple whose house he was at, and they, against his wishes, told me what is going on. They have known Nate since he was 12 years old. He started dating their daughter Ashley when they were in 6th grade, and they counted dating all through middle school and high school. Ashley got pregnant toward the end of their senior year, and they got engaged. I don't know how to even write this next part. When their son was 1.5 years old, they were involved in an accident with a drunk driver. Nate was ejected from the car, and Ashley and his son passed away in the accident. She said that he blames himself for it because, according to him, they were never supposed to be out that night, and it was his fault they were. She said he withdrew from them and everyone else, and that up until last Friday, that hadn't heard from him since he left. She has offered to come get my sister and I from the airport in the morning, and she can try to answer any questions I have while we wait for him to return. She said they know where he is. He is at the spot they spread their ashes. She said he told her that he need be with his son one more time before he let him go. I'm honestly in a total state of shock right now. I don't know what to think, but I know he is in pain, and I need to get to him, and I can figure everything else after. Comments. Commenter. Best I can make of this is that to become a father again, he needed to have closure with the child he had before. I have no idea how to excuse his just taking off on his pregnant girlfriend to do it, abandoning her at the airport and going no contact. That's pretty despicable and not something I'd forgive easily. I mean, he's put you guys through hell because he couldn't even bother to answer his phone. And what is with taking all his clothes? Just weird. Commenter, it sounds like he may have had a bit of a breakdown. Not excusing it, but this definitely doesn't sound premeditated. More like he had a breakdown over the thought of becoming a father again, and felt he needed closure with the past that he just sort of abandoned up until now. Okay, next story. Wife asked for open marriage, I asked for divorce. I'm wondering if I have jumped the gun or have been reasonable here. We have been married for 12 years now. Things have always been great without any particular up or down. My wife has always been a kind, sweet woman, and up until this I thought the world of her. And then she went and broached the talk about open marriage. What if we consider opening up marriage? Because all her friends did it and it's 2024. I didn't get angry or anything like that. I just listened and offered my counters. I asked if her friends are influencing her into this. She said no. I asked if she already had someone in mind. She said no. I asked her to give me some time to think about, and she agreed, stating we don't have to do it if I'm not up for it. I shouldn't have, but in the days after I checked her phone and laptop, nothing suspicious or that suggests she was cheating already. Last week I told her I thought about it, and in my opinion, she can date anyone she wants because I want a divorce. Cue the sobbing, the begging, and all. If I knew, I wouldn't have even asked. She refuses to move out, and so do I, so I sleep in the guest room. She's taken sick from work, and every time I am home, she keeps begging to talk and go back to the bedroom with her. I believe her friends actually tried to influence her, and she didn't do anything at all, but this unraveled my perception of her. Was I too fast to mention divorce? Relevant comments. Commenter. IDK if you were too fast, but honestly, you almost never see a relationship start monogamous, open up and succeed, and there's a reason for that. If my wife suggested opening my marriage, that's where I would go too. That tells me I'm not enough, and I'm not going to waste my life struggling to be enough for the person who married me, therefore telling me that who I am is what she wanted to spend her life with. IDK if it would happen right away, but it certainly would make the eventuality of divorce infinitely more likely. OOP. That's exactly what I feel. Commenter. She may not have done anything yet, but she had someone in mind. I don't think you were too fast, as your actions made your position on cheating and the consequences of cheating crystal clear. I would ask her about who she had in mind and where this came from. What would she have done if you said yes? What would she have done if you had a date the very next day? Why was she willing to risk her marriage, and for who? Oop. Good points. TBH. I don't think that fantasizing about someone else is that end marriage kind of crime. But if she had made serious plans, it's another thing. Oop on if he still trusts his wife after the conversations. Oh. What more there's talk to? Trust is gone on both sides. We are done. Update. I wasn't jumping the gun. She was cheating emotionally and planning to do so physically. I checked her phone and computer and found nothing. But she came forward with a second phone I had no idea she even had. She thought I already knew. That's why she came out with it. Just as I was starting to regret my decision. Her friends sweet-talked her into it. Apparently those open marriages are just their affairs. The things I saw are stomach-churning. She begs to be given a second chance, and a part of me is foolishly considering to give it to her. But it's not the right thing to do. I don't want to leave her, but I have to for the sake of my dignity, pride, and self-respect. That I love her has become irrelevant. Relevant comments. Commenter, you don't need to make a decision this very moment. I would take some space and serious time, but just me, as I have impulsive tendencies. Certainly put yourself first. I say this as someone who discovered an emotional affair several weeks ago. I'm still processing it and still get hit with moments of anger. I printed divorce papers today just so I have them. Oop. I think that if I dwell on it too much, I might risk changing my mind on the rightful thing to do. Divorce. I am gutted and I don't want to lose her, but I am relieved that my instinct was correct. Commenter. Infidelity can be overcome if there is true remorse, but you gotta go with your gut here. Oop. I think she is genuinely remorseful, but why should we stay together after this? It's not right. Oop on if the families have found out about his wife's request for open marriage. Oop. I'll do that only out of mercy, because if my family finds out, she'll be finished in our town. The rest is bullshit, though. I never cheated, never thought about it, never strayed, and even if I admit I do still love her, I won't stay in a marriage that has become a farce. Not Middle East, Europe, but my family is still important, and at this point it matters more than our marriage. Commenter. I don't blame you, OP. If you stayed, she would have to drop all her friends. Is she willing to do that? Oop. She already said she will drop them, and I think she will. But again, for me, she can do anything she wants, away from me. Update 2. This is not a good or satisfactory update. I was in the process of talking to a lawyer when someone very close to me passed away in a car accident. So everything has stopped for now. My wife wanted to organize the funeral, and although I made an effort to stop her, she still did. She says my behavior is not fair because this person was like a son to her as well, and in a moment like this, we should stick together. Then she doesn't care if I divorce her or not. Again, I reiterated she's free to do whatever she wants as long as she does it away from me, and since she wouldn't respect nor honor my grief, I stopped talking to her altogether. She could talk, cry, or complain all she wanted, but I wouldn't respond. 2 days ago, I took my relative's ashes and moved in the apartment above my restaurant. My brother is the bartender, and I instructed him and our employees to turn away my wife if she comes here. She tried blowing up my phone, saying that taking the ashes was a low blow and we should stick together in this tragedy. I just blocked her. I won't update anymore. I just want to be alone in my grief and then get things over with my wife. How do you like these stories? Write your opinion in the comments. Let's get 1,000 subscribers on this channel. Love you.